Settle in, the wacky Gun Talk After Show crew is gathered, and there's no telling what they'll say.
Hey, it's after show time. We're going to be talking with Jim over there. Hello, James.
Greetings, fine sir.
And the lovely Michelle Cleveland, who tries to keep us in control, but so far, not so much luck.
Yeah, the new year's coming. We'll try again.
And on her list is a bullwhip.
Oh, yeah.
Please, Santa, I need a whip to be able to keep these guys in check.
I could reach Jim from here with that. Yes.
Does that cost me extra? Or?
Yeah, people pay good money for that. It's just saying, But not in the middle of the country. Not in flyover country. So,
nope.
No. Not allowed. Okay. Hey, Ken's been waiting for a little while over in Medford, Oregon. Let's bring him in. Hey, Ken, welcome to the after show, man.
Hey, it's great. This is the first time I had a chance to hear the after show.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a little bit odd, a little strange, and
I think we should hang up on him, don't you think?
I'm just talking about those two over there.
Sounds like a little bit more fun than the regular show.
Oh yeah, we do things that they won't let us do on broadcast radio.
That's always fun sometimes. I was just going to give you a heads up. I called you a while back about a problem with my Henry lever action 22 that was shooting perfect, and then I cleaned it, and the next time it's just all over the place.
Oh yeah, that was just a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yes, and you had one of your callers call in and suggested that it was a problem in the chamber where the bullet wasn't seating into the rifling properly. And he was spot on. It was a carbon buildup at the rifling at the end of the chamber.
Okay.
I had a lot of difficulty trying to solve that problem, and what I ended up doing is I actually went out and bought a 25 caliber pistol bronze brush.
Okay.
Used a needle nose, held it into the chamber, and then ran the rod through, screwed it on, and then pulled it out.
You left out the Dremel tool.
No. I didn't want to go that far. It took a while with several different kinds of solvent, but I actually got that problem solved, which was pretty awesome because it was driving me absolutely crazy. But the other thing is on the conversation that was going on today, you were talking about what's the age of getting a gun for the first time and what did you get. When I was 10 years old, my dad finally decided that I was responsible enough to get a 22. When I was younger, he didn't do the BB gun thing. He bought me a Mattel shooting shell. Now, I don't know if you remember those, but they shot the little tiny plastic bullets with a brass case.
It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure I do remember those.
It was a lever action, plastic. It looked just like a Model 94, only it was a kid size, and it had a little gray plastic bullet that snapped into a brass case, and you could load them in and then shoot them like a lever action, and just the spring action in the case shot the bullet out.
Okay, so, and then you could actually shoot projectiles, which they probably don't let up kids do these days. I don't know. But, that's cool. All right.
We the Green Army men with them. So, anyway, when I was 10 years old, he bought me a J.C. Higgins 22 bolt-action rifle from Sears Roebuck.
Nice.
And I love that gun. Rabbits and squirrels would hide when I came out into the field with that gun.
No contest.
I actually won an NRA junior marksmanship trophy with that gun.
Oh, cool.
Hence earning your nickname of Deadeye.
Something like that. Anyway, when I was in my teens, unfortunately, that gun was stolen. And I was absolutely brokenhearted because I love that gun. Well, being up here in Oregon, when I first came up here about 6 years ago, I bought my first semi-automatic pistol, thinking that, I'm a revolver guy, always have been, cowboy guy.
Okay.
I bought an LCP 380.
Right.
And I didn't like it. The recoil was insane. Nobody else liked to shoot it, so I decided, you know what? Maybe it's time to just pass this one down to somebody else. Nobody wanted it. So I went to a pawn shop, and I said, okay, I want to either sell this or trade it in on something. I found at a pawn shop a week ago a J.C. Higgins 22
No.
exactly like I had, in almost immaculate condition.
All right.
Traded it straight up.
now you are 10 years old again.
Yes, I am.
That is
it took,
great.
The better part of 54 years off my life.
Ken, make sure you go clean your room too, will you? Now, take the garbage out.
Oh, and by the way, you may want to clean the chamber on that J.C. Higgins.
I have done a lot of cleaning on that one.
Touche.
That's great. What a wonderful story.
Don't often find, and it just worked out so well. And I can't wait for the rain to stop and the coldness to stop because it's been really nasty up here. I don't know if you've seen on the news and the weather, but we've had snow, rain, 30-degree temperatures, and it's just not a lot of fun to go to the range. So I'm waiting for that sunny day so I can take this thing out and shoot it.
Well, you know what you also need to, you know what you got to do, and I'm serious about this. You've got to start saving up tin cans.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got, I know when you were a kid, you shot tin cans with that rifle, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You got to go full circle, man. You got to do the whole deal.
100 yards, 10 cans. 10 out of 10. Made my brother so mad because he had a single shot faster than he could.
Now, here's a question for you. Because, you just told this wonderful story. This is for all of us here. What is it about our connection with these guns that we remember everything about that first gun, and it means so much to us to have that connection back to that? And, I know people do that with cars and other things, but it seems as though there's some kind of really interesting connection here. And I'm just thinking, as we're sitting here listening to you, we can hear you smiling while you're telling the story, right?
Yes.
What's going on here? Why does that rifle speak to you so much?
Well, I think to really be honest, it was the fact that my dad finally felt that I was responsible enough to have a real gun, and the fact that he actually went out and got me a really nice, and at that time a really nice bolt-action .22, and then he went out with me and he showed me how to use it. We went to the hunter safety course together. In fact, he ended up being a hunter safety instructor after that.
Cool.
He got so involved in it. But we went through the course together. We went hunting together. My brother wasn't that much interested in it, but I was, and we just bonded. And we bonded with that rifle. He was shooting a Winchester Pump .22, like the Rossi replicas they make now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He had the original Winchester Pump .22. And so we went out shooting squirrels and jackrabbits and tin cans and having a great time for many, many years.
So that gun means a whole lot more than just a gun to you.
Yes.
And
it brings back vivid memories.
Well, Michelle, you've been multi-generational. You understand that.
Absolutely. And actually, I was just thinking we need to come up with a book. And although it wouldn't necessarily be just a boy, but a boy, a gun, and his dad, or, some kind of little excerpts that you could take from everybody's life, because, people collect all kinds of things. We have a really old BB gun, and people come in and they look at it and they're like, oh my gosh, I had one just like that, and they go through all their memories with that. And I think that's true. It's that piece of innocent childhood responsibility that the parents gave them.
Yep.
And you didn't shoot your eye out with it, did you?
No. Yeah. Amazing.
All right. Hey, Ken, I got a suggestion for you. Okay. If you like to read it all, there's an old book. It's still available. It was written by Robert Ruark, R-U-A-R-K, who is one of my favorite writers. And the title of it is The Old Man and the Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right?
Yep.
Anybody that knows the book goes, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great book.
She's all choked up over here.
Yeah, it is. It's that good. Mm-hmm. I would just suggest, from the story you told, get you a copy of Ruark's The Old Man and the Boy. Now, once you do, you'll get hooked on Ruark, and I gotta love his stuff. Something of Value, Uhuru, The Horn of the Hunter. It just goes on and on. Once you get hooked on Ruark, you're going, oh my gosh, this guy could write. Holy cow. But yeah, get a copy of The Old Man and the Boy to go along with your rifle, and you'll know what I'm talking about once you get it, okay?
Okay.
All right. Look, I wish you a Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, holiday season, all the rest of it, New Year's, and thank you so much for sharing that story. That is a great story.
It just warmed my heart when I found this thing, and I will get that book. A Boy.
The Old Man and the Boy.
and the boy.
Yep,
Not
the
like
old
Old
man
Man
and the boy.
and the Sea, but Old Man and a boy.
Yep, The Old Man and the Boy by Robert Ruark.
Okay, I will go look for that.
All
That'll
right,
be my
thank
Christmas
you, sir.
present. So.
There you go. There's
Stocking
Christmas
stuffer,
present.
yes.
I love it. Well, I can't do any better than that. I think we got to take a quick break, catch our breath. That was too good, man.
Yeah.
That was great. All right, be right back.
When the U.S. military's elite units and law enforcement agencies across the globe demanded innovation and reliability, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. When world champion professional shooters demanded precision accuracy, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. So it's no surprise more and more civilian gun owners are refusing to settle for anything less. They're choosing Sig Sauer firearms, ammunition, electro-optics, suppressors, air guns, and training. Sig Sauer. Never settle.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. shopguntalk.com.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Tom, don't you feel bad that 54 years ago you stole that guy's gun? That was rotten of you. Look, you scarred him for life until he found the new
Well,
one.
you know, now we know where he lives, and I've got his phone number. I can go get my gun back.
Now you got a match pair.
That's right.
What a cool story, huh?
Yeah, I love it. And you know, he says, "Hey, the LCP kicks." Yes.
Yes,
You
it does.
You know, we all have them, and yes, they do. It is a last-ditch get off of me gun. But
Right.
you know what?
Yeah.
When you need it,
Right, and you're not going to notice a recoil. And have you ever heard anybody say, "Yeah, I went to the range and put 1,000 rounds through my LCP"?
Right, said no one ever.
never anyone. I mean, it is if you get somebody who's put 50 rounds through them, you're going, "Oh, I'm impressed."
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's a great little gun. Don't get me wrong. I love the thing. And for what it is designed to do, it's perfect.
Yep. And it has another unintended consequence. If you are going to try to shoot 50 rounds with that, it's kind of lends itself real well to practicing with your offhand.
This is true. Once your right hand starts stinging, you put it in your left hand and let it sting for a while. Yeah.
Cool.
Equal opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. But, you know, that story about the 22, I've got my dad's first 22. Mm-hmm. The first gun that he had, it's a Remington Model 6. Single shot, falling block, a little bitty thing. And he was sick in the hospital. And he had to spend several weeks in the hospital as a little boy. And his dad got him that rifle and brought it to him in the hospital. And he laid in his hospital bed with his 22, dry firing it until he almost wore out the hammer.
Oh, my.
Wow.
But can you imagine you're in the hospital and you got this rifle and this kid is sitting there just shooting at everything in the room, dry firing at everything in the room because he can't get out of the bed, can't get out of the hospital. Different times.
Yeah.
Much so, yeah.
Yeah, but I've been thinking about that little gun, and I was thinking about maybe doing a shadow box.
Oh,
and
that'd be
putting
cool.
it in there. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
And I've got a picture of him with that gun. He was probably 7,
It's funny.
Oh, yeah, put that in there.
With his dog,
Yeah, I was just going to ask you if you had a picture of him with it, because the only thing that could make that better would be a picture.
Yep, got a picture of him with the gun, with his dog, and he said he used to pick peas, green beans, I guess, and he would get like a few pennies for a big bucket of them, and with a few pennies he could go buy a few rounds, buying individual rounds of 22.
Wow.
So, Tom, have you written your story to put with that rifle that you know of with your dad and the history of that firearm?
No.
Slap on the wrist, Tom.
You're a writer. You can do this.
A writer.
He can do it good.
That's right. How to write good. No, it's a good idea. I need to do that. In fact, I have been putting this off. People keep saying, you need to write this stuff down, because I am the repository of a lot of these memories from Dad. Now, we do have a lot of his writings and a lot of his letters and all, but a lot of the stuff that he never wrote about, but I heard the stories, and I remember all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
The time he got thrown in jail in Africa.
What for?
Oh, it's just typical deal of, somebody says you're on the wrong land, and the tribal chief, they arrest him, take him. I mean, they did. They took him to jail, put him in, and that's a great story. And their dad's just getting steamer. He's mad, and because they're supposedly on the wrong hunting concession and all. And finally, swear to God, the chief comes in, and he's talking to him, and he says, "Oh, you're Americans." And he looks at him, and Dad just looked at him, and he says, "I've been to America." He says, "I went to Chicago." And Dad's just had enough. He says, "I hate Chicago." He says, "I hated Chicago too. Release these men."
Stop.
Oh, that's great. That's beautiful.
There's a bond.
That is perfect.
Oh my goodness. Change of tide.
Yeah, exactly. You go, wow, I didn't see that coming. At that point, you're thinking, I got nothing to lose.
Yeah, you got to write this down, because you now are the suppository, Tom.
Wait, what?
Oh, repository. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a crappy job, isn't it?
Oh, man.
Yeah. All the comebacks I had for that, I am not going to say.
Even on the after show.
That's right. There's just a limit. Hello. If you put your microphone inside of a big glass, it sounds cool like this. This is fun. Okay, experiments in broadcasting there. Okay.
How cool is that?
Oh, yeah. Man. See, this is why we don't do this on the radio.
We want to stay in business, right?
Yeah, we want to stay on the air. Oh, my gosh. So, how's business, Miss Michelle?
Oh, it's delightful.
It's crazy town, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Well, you've got people coming in and looking for items for Christmas and not sure what to get, and they think they like this caliber, and what should I do? And that's always a tough road, because, firearms are one of those things that once it leaves, it's used, whether it's been fired or not. So
that's true. They can't really bring it back.
Right. So you got to coach people through what they want, or, And
for gifts, it's really tough if they don't know exactly what the other person wants. Do you offer the option of gift certificates?
Yep. Yes, always.
I would think that's probably not a bad, if you don't really know for sure.
Right. Or try to coach them through questions they could ask to figure it out.
And they don't know the terminology.
Right. Like, does he have a really good friend, or vice versa? Sometimes it's the female that's into firearms, and the person doesn't really know what they're wanting, But
right.
Yeah. So no, it's this time of year is always fun. People are always excited about that one pick, and it's just fun to help make Christmas dreams come true.
It's the old deal. And if you don't have one, buy a good 22.
Well, and it's one of those things. It's like, man, if you just give me a picture of them opening it. I want one from everybody.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, we should do that on your Facebook page.
I was going to say, you know what? With Facebook, you can get that. You can say, let's everybody, shoot a little video of somebody opening their present that's a gun present. That would be cool. I like that idea.
And just to pass along, it doesn't necessarily have to be something new.
This is true.
There are some really good used firearms out there, and there are some really good family heirlooms that could be passed along.
Well, excellent point. Rather than wait till you're dead for somebody to get your guns that have been in the family, how about give them the guns now? And, oh yeah, Tom, tell the story. Write it down.
Right.
Do the whole deal. I actually did a little bit of that today with Ryan. We had some of Gritz's guns that have become my guns that now have become his guns, his grandfather's guns.
Awesome.
So this cool stuff. I mean, we got some that it's like I love, they have engraved for Gritz Gresham, and this goes way back when the Remington or these gun companies would have these seminars, the new product seminars for the gun writers. And this one you'll love this. It's a Remington 742, the old semi-automatic Remington in 30-06, unfired. And on the side of it says, presented to Gritz Gresham at the Firearms Editors Meeting, Merry Meeting Bay, Maine. I think it was 1967. Cool, huh? Mm-hmm. So I'd never even heard of Merry Meeting Bay, Maine, but it's a place.
Me neither.
But, stuff like that, you go, okay, that's cool. But everybody has guns with stories.
Right.
Everybody has guns with stories.
Right. Well, there's something special. I'm going to say this about a couple of things. One, there's always that firearm. There's that rifle or BB gun or whatever it may have been, right? And then the other thing is the dog.
It's hard to wrap a dog. I'm just going to tell you right now. No,
but I just mean all of those stories that are out there about me and my gun and a dog, or, there's just so many of them that, it's a classic tradition. That's, I guess, why it hurts us so much that we could possibly lose a battle. Every time we win one court case, we got 10 more things coming at us. But
right.
But it's a important part of our heritage and history, and we got to hold on to this.
By the way, when I was looking at the Robert Ruark books, there's another one I would recommend to people if they're interested. If just cool books, a story. It's got 35 short stories in it. The title of it is one of my favorite titles. My Health is Better in November. And it's just 35 stories of hunting and fishing in the South by, love this guy's name, Havilah Babcock. By Havilah Babcock. He was the poet laureate of South Carolina. That's how I know of Havilah Babcock. But yeah, My Health is Better in November and The Old Man and the Boy. Just good stuff. If you want to just add those onto your list, buy like 3 or 4 of them for handing out to people. Nobody's ever going to be sorry they got one of those.
Right.
But I do love your idea. If you have a picture of you with that gun way back, or grandfather with the gun or whatever, but the stories about the guns, the stories about the dogs.
Yep.
Thinking about Ken, the gun becomes the vessel for the stories.
Yes.
It's, you heard him. He said, I remember hitting tin cans at 100 yards and drove my brother crazy that I could do that. That's when he picks that up, he's not seeing a gun.
No.
He's seeing all that other stuff.
Flashback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool stuff, man. It's just, and it doesn't have to be a gun that you own. You mentioned used guns. Mm-hmm. There's some cool, he just got that J.C. Higgins. There's some really cool guns. Now this would be a little bit of a chore for people. What if we put them on a search kind of like Ken did? If you know that somebody in your family had a such and such a gun and now doesn't have it, and one of those, I've always been sorry I sold that gun.
Right.
You can we now have the ability to find those things. If your local store doesn't have it, gun broker or someplace.
Right. Make your own little wish list, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can say, I remember having a Remington Nylon 66. Well, you can go online and find a Nylon 66, I guarantee you.
Right.
And you could have it shipped
choose your color.
Yes, that's true.
Brown, green, what do you want?
Black, yeah, that's right. They had the whole deal. That was that was kind of the first real Mattel gun that we had, the plastic stock thing.
It's the start of it, right?
It really was, wasn't it? I don't remember much beyond that. Yeah.
I want to try to find one of those old guns he was talking about, the kid's gun with the brass container or brass cartridge with the spring in it.
He says a Mattel something. I forget what he called it, but yeah, it was cool.
I'd never heard of that.
Neither have I. He's much older than us, Michelle. He's got to be much older. Well, let's go with that.
No, he's not older than all of us, because I heard him say how old he was. I don't know if you I
did.
Yeah, okay. So he's not older than all of us. Just saying here.
They didn't even have toys when you were a kid, did they?
Yeah, we had rocks. They had invented the rock. It was
Cool.
okay. A rock and a stick. It was good, you know.
You have fire.
No, we didn't have that yet. That came along later.
Well, you hit two rocks together.
He didn't say it. 2 rocks.
Oh, just all.
Hey, things were tough.
That's right. It was the Depression. It was the prehistoric Depression. We had 1 rock. It was a limit.
You shared it.
Actually, we had quotas, 1 rock a month. So
Background checks. It was crazy.
that's right. It's crazy town. That's exactly right. I was really glad we were able to get Philip on with an update. What's going on in Virginia is unbelievable.
Yeah, we're going to be talking to him often, I think, the next couple of months.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty intense.
It is.
It needs to be. You know what?
I'm kind of just disappointed in the National Guard guy, although I understand, or he's Commandant General, whatever, Colonel, whatever he is. I understand him not wanting to make a call either way, kind of.
Well, you know, look, when you're at that level in the military, you are very much a politician. Mm-hmm. You have to be, and there's no need for him to take a position at this point because it's just noise out there right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Nobody's asking him to do anything. He doesn't have to make a decision. And when he does, he'll run it up the ladder anyway, and somebody will tell him what he can or can't do.
You know, it's amazing. You wish that they would have learned from everything that happened in Oregon, and you know, with the loss of rights and the inability to share a firearm or allow somebody to use your gun at the range, or you just wish more people would have woken up prior to that election.
But I'm a duck hunter, and they're only going after ARs.
Well, and most of them, frankly, don't even know. They haven't heard those stories. They're not listening here. They're not plugged in. They're going about their daily lives, and they hear people say, well, these guys are going to take your guns. They go, yeah, we've been hearing that all my life. And all of a sudden, bang, they've introduced a bill to actually take your guns. They go, well, why didn't somebody tell me that?
Right.
I will tell you, I went to a dark side a few days ago when the governor started talking about sending the National Guard. Mm-hmm. And my thought was, this is not 1967. This is not Kent State.
Yep.
These are not naive, defenseless college students that you can send to the National Guard and they can kill them. These are people who train in long-range shooting. Mm-hmm. These are people who have a lot of guns. And these are people who have a passion for this, and they believe that they would do literally anything to protect their country. This is not what you politicians think it is. Trust me, you really do not have an idea of what's going on here, and you are miscalculating by a magnitude you cannot even imagine.
I had a person that actually asked the question. I don't know how the conversation came up anymore. It's been a while ago. But a younger person, and they said, that's true? I'm like, what?
The Kent State?
The Kent State shooting? I'm like,
4 dead in Ohio, yep.
Yes,
yeah.
That is legit. That happened, and that song was released. Yes, that's real.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, peace protesters in the late 60s in Ohio. Was it Ohio State?
Yep, Kent State.
Kent State, that's right, Kent State in Ohio. National Guard was called in to break up the protest, as it often was. They had given the National Guard live ammo. Something happened. Somebody fired, one of the National Guardsmen fired a shot because the students didn't have any guns, and they killed 4 students, and they had that famous Pulitzer Prize winning photo of the student over, I guess it was the girl who was down. I can't remember
Girl
exactly.
was hanging over a guy.
That's right, girl was hanging over the guy. That's right. And it was a spark that really ignited the anti-war protest at that point.
Yeah, that gives me chills.
And if you lived through that, you know if I just say Kent State, that's the first thing you think of.
Yes.
It is what you think of. Mm-hmm. And my point in all this was, if you want to send the National Guard after these people,
you might want to think through that.
You just might want to and I know they're thinking, those people they're bluffing, they make a lot of noise and thinking, no. I know a lot of people who are saying, I will not let this stand, and I will in fact shoot people. I will, and here's the thing. I mean, we're going to go to the dark side here for a second. If they want to start that, it becomes asymmetrical warfare. What that means, not to me, I don't want people getting upset about this, but to a number of people who are serious about this, is that means no rules. That means that the politicians and their families are in play. That's what I'm hearing out there. Do not start this, because you cannot control this.
Right.
That's scary.
It's very scary. because then it escalates on both sides to a point where it's a conflagration. It's just things you cannot control. But these are not people who are just going to march with signs and yell and make noise. And that, I think, is the massive miscalculation that's being done here.
Right.
So,
we have somebody who would like to thank you for that trip to the dark side, Tom.
Yes.
I'm going to call her on line 4.
Jeez.
Hold on, Chewy. Hold on, Chewy.
That's right. Don't get cocky, kid. All right.
Tom's over here rolling his eyes. You got to be kidding me.
Of course. And with that happy thought, we have Christmas in mind.
Yeah.
So, I am on the track of a new gun.
No.
Because I need
something
one.
you can talk about, or do we have to wait?
Dangerously low on guns there
I
for
am.
a while.
I'm dangerously low. I'm thinking maybe another single action revolver. So, yeah.
A 22, or what are you thinking? A 44? 45
maybe
long Colt?
45 Colt, I'm thinking.
Okay.
Just thinking. I'm trying to resist the urge to go with a 475 or 500 line ball.
Oh, come on.
I know.
You got a second shoulder.
These are handguns, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's going to jack your elbow, your wrist, your shoulder.
That's actually, you're joking, but it is the reason. If I were going to hunt with it, seriously hunt, I would get one of those because they're just awesome cartridges for that. But I want to go out and shoot a bunch. And for that, you can have the super heavy 45 loads, which will work great for hunting or defense. But you can also get the little powder puff cowboy action loads, which are just fun to shoot.
Okay.
And one of the things that a lot of people don't grasp about why is the 45 important versus, say, a 44? Well, a 44 is not really a 44 in diameter. A 44 is actually a 43. It's actually a .429 diameter, bullet diameter for a 44 Magnum or 44 Special. So it's a 429, whereas a 45 is actually a 451 or a 452. So it is significantly larger in bullet diameter, and that does something very interesting. Now we're going to go gun geekery for a second. I know. Everybody, I'm sorry. I was going to say this is just the four of us, but I think it's allowed down to one or two of us now. But that larger diameter lets you have a different expansion ratio, and you can develop velocities with lower pressures if you have a larger bullet. Yeah. So like the 45-70 versus a 30-06, you have considerably lower pressures. You have a much larger diameter. It's an interesting volumetric efficiency thing.
Huh. Who knew?
Tom did.
Tom obviously knew, right?
Yep.
Well, I knew somebody who knew. I don't actually know. I don't know anything.
I read this article once.
I hang out with people who know stuff, and I steal their ideas.
Attaboy.
That's all it is, man.
Speaking of 45-70, I learned something cool today.
I thought you were going to say, speaking of stealing.
No.
45-70.
Those days are done. A buddy of mine called me to ask if I would consider selling him my 45-70 that I just won.
What?
Yeah.
What would your TV sit on?
I hung up on him. Yeah, I don't have the box.
Good man.
So he said,
list.
well, in Michigan, you can have straight wall cartridges, pistol cartridges, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, I'm well aware of that.
Or for hunting deer.
Right. For deer hunting.
Okay.
So then he calls me back a couple days later. I can't buy the gun. I said, well, I never told you I was going to sell it in the first place. Okay. He says, well, I can't buy it because you can't shoot with that in Michigan. I said, it's a straight wall cartridge. Well, evidently, there is a length restriction of the cartridge in Michigan.
Oh.
Which 1.8 inches, 1.08, whatever it was. But it's legal in Ohio. But 6 miles north of us, we can't use it, even though it's a straight wall pistol cartridge.
Okay. So you could go with a 45 Colt or a 44 Magnum, something like that, but not the longer 45-70.
Right, because in their mind, the larger cartridge means longer distance and...
Good thing you didn't have one of them, Jim.
Yeah. I mean, and I understand the reasoning. We talked about this a little bit before, Tom. The reasoning why they don't want super mega long range cartridges,
artillery pieces.
Right. But I mean, I don't know too many people that have taken, well, you may, but I don't know too many people have taken anything with a 45-70 around here more than a couple hundred yards.
Well, not now, but in the old days. Yeah. It was actually used by the buffalo hunters.
Was it buffalo?
Yeah, and 800, 900 yards.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Holy
yes,
cow.
Indeed. Oh, yeah. Now, I mean, they had Sharps rifles with the vernier rear sight, the flip-up tang sight.
Hold over.
But now a lot of them went with, instead of 45-70, they had 45-90s and 45-110s.
Wow, that'd be cool.
So basically the cartridge just gets longer and longer because they're shooting black powder. And we would defer to Michelle, but with black powder, you don't have near the pressures you do. You can basically just kind of keep adding powder to it, but you're not going to blow up your gun generally.
Nice caveat. Generally.
I always like to throw in you're probably not going to blow up your gun.
Yeah, there's no way, more than likely, that...
Yeah. In fact, you look at, favorite movie starring a rifle.
Quigley Down Under?
Yes. Yes. You look at how long those cartridge cases were, and I know he said something about it being experimental, but I can't remember what the caliber was. I know it's...
Was that 45-110?
It may have been 110, yeah.
That's like the size of your finger.
Yeah, they're like cigars.
Well, not mine,
cool.
but yours.
Well,
yeah, well.
Include the nail, maybe.
There is an idea. You can buy a Sharp's rifle.
Yeah.
Oh, what a thing of beauty.
Black powder cartridges, huh?
Completely geek.
How cool.
Yeah, you can really geek out. Now, you can shoot smokeless powder in the modern Sharps.
Not at 110, though.
I don't know. Probably can.
Monster.
Well, you know what? You could use, what is it, Trail Boss? You could pour the Trail Boss powder. You could fill it up with Trail Boss. Don't even measure it.
Oh, my. Oh, boy. That's not true.
Haven't been litigated against lately, huh?
It's not true.
Well, probably true. I mean, you can... Generally speaking, you won't blow up your gun doing that.
Let's see. What else can we do on Sundays? Well, we could all go down and visit Tom.
You're going to get your weekends back.
Oh my goodness.
Have ammo. We'll work for food.
Okay, I have to go online and buy stuff now.
You enjoy that.
I'll send you my list.
But of course, as long as it's everything's good as long as its numbers is 327. Is that the deal?
Yeah, that's good caliber.
There's that. Oh, wait. Now that's a straight wall case.
Caliber's not wide enough.
We have to use a 357 and bigger.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Well, poo.
I know.
And it has to be raining, and the sun has to be in the right position, and
on one foot.
Yeah.
Shoot with the opposing eye.
Right.
But it is great for woodchucks, though. I'll just throw that out there.
Oh, it is, and we know this how?
I don't know.
Somebody told you?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Local
guys told you.
Local soybean guys still paying $5 a piece for those?
Oh, I don't think so.
They were there for a while.
Were they?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, they were abundant because people are no longer. Well, people are having a hard time letting people on their property to shoot, is what it is anymore. They're not wanting to take that responsibility.
Let somebody on that you don't know.
You're right.
But if you develop a relationship, you can probably say, hey, I can help you out with that woodchuck problem.
Start now. Spring's a-coming.
The relationship takes a little while. Go knock on doors.
Right, and don't do your Peter Lorre impersonation at the door. Can I please shoot on your property?
Oh, my gosh.
Usually doesn't bode well for you.
And probably he knows this from experience, so there's that.
He does that so well.
Just creeps you out, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Oh, my.
Well, I think we've expended every possibility to offend everyone and get things wrong. So I'll have a whole week to come up with another routine here.
Generally speaking,
almost. Almost every time.
Nearly.
That's right. Nearly.
I guarantee you that probably...
Most likely.
Yeah. We possibly... That's right.
You're listening to Tom Disclaimer Gresham's Gun Talk.
A.K.A. Weasel Words.
Johnny
have to use the weasel words.
Right.
Inside. Okay. Well, you guys have a great week, and when we report back, it will be mere days before Christmas. We will be almost there.
The chatter.
So exciting.
He said report. Did you pick up on that?
Report?
He said report, yeah.
It's a report pair? That would be you two. You'd do the report pair.
Nice.
Sporting Place guys get that. Okay.
Yep, we better go.
There's no way to get out of this. It's just like, it just goes on and on. It's like, just
There's you hear it.
Fade us down and take us out, Jim, because we're just going to keep talking again and again, and I can't get to it.
Hey, thanks for checking out the after show. And don't forget to join the Gun Talk Truth Squad at guntalk.com and grab Gun Dealio for your smartphone. It'll save you money on guns, ammo, and more.